Oh my god, they're launching missiles at us, right into the center of our city. Another one, and another one. Everyone look, a whole wave of them is coming straight toward us. The entire skyline is filled with them. The order for combat readiness is sent to the aircraft carrier. The crew begins moving the ship out of the harbor to prepare for its mission. The engines are pushed to their full designed power. The massive anchor chains, weighing hundreds of tons, are hauled up from the water link by link. Meanwhile, tugboats move in close alongside the hull to help guide the aircraft carrier through the narrow harbor channel where it had been docked for maintenance. On the forward deck, sailors operate the anchor windlass, hauling the massive anchor chains up from the water, link by link. The heavy chains, coated with mud and seawater, rise slowly until the anchors finally emerge from the surface and are secured back into their housings on the deck. Along the railings on the ship's deck, crew members and sailors stand quietly, watching the harbor slowly drift away as the carrier departs to carry out the urgent mission assigned to it. Some of them look back toward the harbor at the rows of crowded buildings and the people standing on the docks, waving and saying their goodbyes as they watch the aircraft carrier slowly sail away into the vast blue sea. No one waves. They simply stand and watch their friends and loved ones. Tugboats push and pull the massive hull through the narrow harbor channel. Once the aircraft carrier clears the harbor entrance, the tugboats peel away one by one, and the ship moves into open water under its own immense power. As soon as the ship clears the harbor, the deck crews get to work as they do on any normal day, though the atmosphere feels far more tense than during previous missions. Sailors grab steel brushes and begin scrubbing the anchor chains and mooring lines, cleaning off mud, salt, and bits of marine growth that had built up while the ship was docked in port for a long time. The heavy lines are then coiled and carefully stored away. The anchor housings are secured tightly to ensure nothing shifts while the carrier is at sea. Inside the aircraft hangar bay, mechanics and weapons maintenance crews have already begun preparing the helicopters for the combat missions that will follow. The crew members mount weapons onto the pylons along the sides of the helicopters, rockets, missiles, and gun pods. Maintenance teams inspect the rotor assemblies, hydraulic lines, and the tail sections. Each helicopter is carefully and thoroughly checked before it is cleared for combat operations. The A-18 Super Hornets are being serviced by technicians. Weapons are loaded into the pylons beneath the aircraft. The panels are carefully closed and secured, engine covers are removed, and fuel levels are checked and topped off. One by one, each aircraft is prepared from nose to tail. The fighter jets are then towed to the aircraft elevators and lifted up to the flight deck above, ready for takeoff. Deck crews in different colored shirts guide each aircraft into position on the catapults and along the flight deck. The wings are unfolded and locked into place, then checked once more before takeoff. The launch bar is attached to the rear of the aircraft. Behind the engines, the jet blast deflectors are raised and ready. The first fighter jet is already positioned on the catapult. The pilot begins pushing the engines to full power. The launch officer then gives the signal for takeoff. The holdback mechanism releases, and the aircraft is hurled forward off the bow of the ship. It dips slightly before climbing sharply into the clear blue sky to begin its mission. A few seconds later, another fighter jet is launched, then several more follow. One by one, they are hurled off the flight deck, banking their wings as they head toward their assigned mission areas. At the rear section of the flight deck, reserved for helicopters, one helicopter is positioned for takeoff. The rotor blades begin to spin slowly at first, then accelerating to full speed. Deck crews clear the area around it. The helicopter lifts off and flies out over the water, heading toward its assigned mission area. At the same time, the escort ships sailing alongside the aircraft carrier and the massive carrier strike group begin carrying out their own operations. A guided missile destroyer turns slightly across the water. The hatches of its vertical launch system open, and Tomahawk cruise missiles begin launching toward their pre-programmed target coordinates. One missile erupts from its launch tube in a burst of flame and thick smoke, shooting upward before turning toward the horizon. Then another follows, and then several more are launched in rapid succession. Missiles streak across the sky one after another, racing toward their pre-programmed military targets in Iran thousands of kilometers away. On the receiving end of the attack, Iran's military facilities begin taking multiple hits. Explosions light up the night sky as the cruise missiles find their targets one after another and carry out their mission. And now we return to the aircraft carrier, where the launch catapults are still operating at full capacity. Fighter jets move into launch position, hook onto the catapults, and are hurled off the bow of the ship. The flight deck operates in a constant, relentless cycle. One aircraft launches, the next one rolls into position, and is launched moments later. The flight deck crews work at full capacity without pause, directing jet aircraft and support planes, hooking them onto the catapults and clearing debris from the deck. The escort ships continue firing. One missile after another leaves the hull of the ships and launches toward its designated targets. Vertical launch cells, each one aimed at a different target: radar sites, Iranian command posts, air defense batteries, and key Iranian military bases. The barrage does not stop. Meanwhile, on land, additional fighter jets are taking off from airfields across Allied bases and military installations stationed there. They roar off the runways, forming into pairs and powerful squadrons, then head toward their designated areas to join the rapid military operation. The airstrike operation is intensifying rapidly. Jets from the aircraft carrier, fighters launching from land-based airfields, and cruise missiles fired from escort ships are all in motion. All of them are converging on the same targets at the same time. The assault is being carried out with overwhelming force, an attack that could dramatically change the course of the operation for the squadrons carrying out the mission.